Good morning, everyone. It's not quite afternoon yet. Kurt Stein here from Kurt Stein School of Music with a little Techniques Tuesday. Yesterday we started a little Motivation Monday thing, and that went pretty well. If you know me, I like to wing it a little bit and figure out exactly how these processes go. So hope everyone got a little something out of yesterday's video. I'm going to keep trying to build these, and I'd like to try to do some videos they can work for a beginner or a super advanced student. There's some things we can all take into consideration that I try to tell myself on a daily basis. It's important to think too, musically, that once you learn one thing, you're going to have to relearn that, or you're going to have to do it multiple times to get it down. So it's just like learning a beginner. Like, you still need to know what 2 times 2 is to do advanced math. And the same thing goes here, but a lot of people like to throw away the simplistic ideas of practice and technique because they have loftier goals and sometimes try to skip over things. So as we try to help our students, especially not only beginners, but people who've been playing for a long time that maybe want to work on their theory or deprogram themselves, I had a problem because, again, I was not taught the right way. I didn't really have a teacher to teach me proper technique and to understand the theory. So I had to deprogram myself. I was playing bass with my fingers all in between the strings. I didn't really know how to hold my hand. And there's some just simple technique things that anyone can learn. And some people who've been playing for years may have these issues. But first things first. Well, first of all, the dogs are upstairs with the boys. They're on some work. We're going to jump on lessons the rest of the day. I don't have the dogs down here, but I have my lovely stuffed Sherman, created for me by my former student and very dear friend, Bethany Smard. So he keeps me company. He's the stuffed embodiment of the great Shermanator. First things first, though, in technique. This could go for any instrument that you are working on, but we're going to talk about string instruments mostly today because there's something that all my students know, whether you're a string instrument player or not, and that rule is thumb in the back. Thumb in the back, thumb in the back, thumb in the back, thumb in the back, thumb in the back. You got to get that down. Your hand, I'm lucky, I'm left-handed, but I play right-handed. So my smart hand does the hard work. For you righties, which is always kind of backwards for me, you use your smart hand to control the pick or your fingers, and your other hand is pretty dumb. So if you're a right-hander, your left hand is pretty stupid. I don't mean that offensively, but us lefties have to live in your backwards world. So I do have a big old hand. Thanks, Succubus. But you want to keep your hand in the back of the instrument at all times. Now, you're going to see a lot of professionals. You're going to see your boy Bob Dylan. Old Bob Dylan playing like this. You're going to see a lot of musicians, jazz players and stuff, getting their thumbs all up in here, doing kind of interesting stuff. You're going to see some metalheads doing some strange fingerings. All that comes with time. But in order to do that, and Succubus mentioned big old hand, you need to have a big old hand. And I love showing this to my students. But the most important muscle that you can develop in your hand, especially for your righties, is this muscle right here. You see that sucker popping out of my hand? That guy right there? I'm going to show you what I do for the kids. I often give them talk to them with the hand because they like to see that muscle go. And if you see this grows, there's a blood supply that is in my hand that flows through here. So as I pump it up, as I get warmed up, sorry, you're not supposed to see that, I'm a ventriloquist. But as you see the blood supply start growing in my hand, that muscle you need to develop. Okay? Now, I have it on both hands. Most of us do. Luckily, I'm mainly an upright and electric bass player, so I got big old beastly hands from doing this, and very calloused fingers, which came from time. So when I'm playing banjo or guitar, this is a tenor banjo, by the way. This sucker is over 100 years old, and for those unfamiliar with the tenor banjo, it is the forgotten banjo. It is my instrument of choice because I can play a 5-string banjo, but I have great respect for those that can actually shred on it because it's a completely different kind of instrument. So I can play it, but I'm going to leave that up to the experts. I'm going to specialize in tenor, which not a lot of people play. So I have some tenor guitars and some tenor banjos. They're tuned CGDA like a cello. There's only four strings on it, CGDA. Some people tune it GDAE, like a violin. So you'll see that in like Irishy music and stuff like that. I tend to like playing the old school jazzy style, like things like that. And you know, like a Jewish klezmer music is highly built around the tenor banjo. But so getting back to this technique thing, all my students know the rule of thumb in the back, because when a lot of string players start playing their instrument, they play like this. I know it's really hard to tell with my giant meaty hand, but they play like this. Their thumb is tucked into the back of the instrument like this, and this is how you think you play. That looks like this to me. That is a baby rattle. That's how babies hold rattles. We have opposable thumbs. We need to use those. In order to do that, you need to develop this muscle in your hand. Now, here's some easy ways to do that without your instrument. You can play, I don't have a thumb. I love that game. I don't have a thumb. Look, there's no thumb. So you're walking around, you're like, look, I'm a thumbless man. But making that motion over and over is big. Another thing is, let's go fingertip to thumb, connecting each fingertip to our thumb. I am squeezing like the dickens. Now, the other thing I want you to notice is, when I squeeze like that, look at the muscles fire in my forearm. If you can see the tendons and muscles moving in my forearm every time I squeeze a finger. So a lot of people think you play guitar with your fingertip. You do not. You play with the muscles in your back. So like Bruce Lee, the great martial artist, had the 1-inch punch. Some folks know about that, but Bruce Lee could knock, 130-pound man, could knock a dude my size across the room by punching him from, this far away. How he would do that is by generating power in his wrist. So when he punches you with his wrist, he extends his forearm. As he extends his forearm, he moves his shoulder. As he moves his shoulder, he extends it. Look at how cool that looks. Then he's going to shift his weight into his hips and move his butt forward, pushing into the front leg and pushing into the back leg until you have this powerful punch. Every time you play a string instrument, you need to fire these fingers. I don't care what the instrument is. Play clarinet, you play saxophone, same rules apply. You play piano, same rules apply. We are throwing punches with our fingertips. So as I always tell people, music and sports are very related, except sports we use big muscles. Hands, feet, arms, but we don't use this. So musicians are the athletes of the fingers, okay? Because we have to learn to use our fingers like gymnasts, so we can get into all different types of shapes. We have to have the strength, like a weightlifter, to hold it down, and the stamina of an endurance runner or a martial artist who knows how to, like in martial arts, you're going to use more of an interval-based training. The same thing goes with music. Turn on, turn off, turn on, turn off, turn on, turn it off. So every time you squeeze your instrument and play down on the string, you're going to want to beat the snot out of that thing. Now, everyone plays like this. They're like, look, I play guitar. No, you don't. Not like that. Not around me, okay? And granted, you're going to see some people who can really play well, but they have terrible technique. So my rule always is, when you're trying to figure out the best strategy for learning your instrument, we got to break it all down. And like I said, I had to relearn all this myself because I was trained completely wrong. So what I had to do, and what you're going to have to do, even if you've been playing for a while and you want to get better, or you feel like you can't accomplish things that you want to, is we're going to start with that thumb in the back. Now, if you look at me from behind, oh, look how pretty that looks. See that hole you can drive a truck through right here? Look at that. Oh, man, that's nice. You see how my thumb is in the back of the instrument and my fingertips are like this? I'm throwing punches back against my own finger every time I play. The thumb is the boss of the hand. 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers, they don't really mean squat, okay? The fingers are in the music videos. The fingers get all the people cheering for them. But the thumb plays every note, and people don't take that in consideration. So when you're playing, and again, righties, this is going to be very hard for you at first. Keeping that thumb in a position like this at all times is going to hurt. It's going to be strenuous. It's going to take you a long time to get it down. So just like you're working out, Just like you're learning a new technique if you're trying to lift weights or do martial arts or dance or yoga. Do you think you can go into a headstand in yoga and just do some of that stuff? No, it takes a lot of time because of the extra muscles you need to do that. And I'm kind of sick of music being taught by the idea that music is treated like a game and a non-important thing to a lot of folks. To me, it's very important. It's very similar to a religion if I have one. It's very similar to a philosophy if I have one. And it connects me to, I'm a vibrating collection of cells. I can control air pressure waves, even talking right now to you. And that connects me to the world around me. So when I play, it's very important for me to think about that technique stuff. Now, this thumb in the back technique is going to take you a long time to learn because you're going to want to do this. And I'm sure a lot of you, maybe you've been playing 20 years and you play like this. I'm going to tell you, if you learn this technique, it's going to change your life because I'm going to show you, I have, as Hecubus said a little earlier, I have an enormous hand. My hand is huge. But if I play your way on even this little banjo, this is as far, if I do your thumb technique and I'm trying to play a little, looks like a C chord on a guitar or something, this is as far as my fingers can spread. If I drop my thumb, I can spread my fingers this wide. So if you see any guitar player or any guitar player who plays jazz, shred or metal, or classical, they all play like this. The reason being, you want this instrument on 45 across your body so that you can manipulate it. Now again, I'm playing with the muscles in my back. Notice that every time I squeeze, you're going to see my forearm and my bicep flexing, believe it or not, and I'm throwing them like little baby punches into these huge muscles that are in your shoulders. So if you think of the tendons that roll through your fingers and roll down your forearm and connect right here, which I have had many problems with tennis elbows on the other side. This is golfer's elbow because I play a lot and I punch a lot. So this gets inflamed quite often on me. So we do a lot of stretching too. So you want to make sure you're rolling these wrists out and keeping this all loose. But a lot of people, again, whether you're playing piano, piano's a good one too because you know who really can beat the snot out of a piano is a little old lady piano player from church. You watch those women, they maybe weigh 45 pounds. Well, I'm lying, maybe 80 pounds. But they drop their hand like there is a woolly mammoth attached to each hand. Because to play an actual piano and not a keyboard, it's a percussive instrument. So they learn to drop their arm and use their power like this. But look again, that's all coming from my shoulder. That's all coming from my arm. And if you notice, I'm even tensing up my belly and I'm moving down, okay? So I'm trying to show you that music is a full body workout when properly executed. Once you have this down, now, you know, we're going to start with something simple like scales. So for instance, this is tuned in C, so it's very easy for me to play a C major scale. Now, you're like, oh wow, look how slow and stupid he did that. Yes, I'm going to do it slow and stupid every time. Especially when it gets started, because now I've been doing all this hand wiggling and stuff, right? So I'm warmed up. My blood is flowing. My tendons are moving. My muscles are moving. Now you can see the veins popping out of my hand to do this. So first thing I'm going to do is if I'm playing with a pick, I want to work on alternate picking too, by going down and up. Or if you're bowing, or if you're breathing, you can practice on your tonguing, whether you're playing clarinet or trumpet or trombone. It's also very important to understand that the techniques involved in music, something I've learned from teaching so many instruments over time, is it doesn't matter what the instrument is. Everything works the same. The techniques are slightly different for whatever instrument you're actually on, but it's like driving a car. Like if you understand where the gas pedal is, maybe the notes, and how the steering wheel works, you can pick up that instrument. So people always ask me how I learn all these things. It's once you know the system, this is easy. You just got to find out where the notes are and practice the techniques that are involved in that instrument. That's why I chose banjo today instead of guitar, just because it's a little different looking for some of you guys. So if I'm going to alternate pick with my right hand, and I'm going to start really slow, dumb. I'm also going to treat it like a machine gun. So I want non-stop rhythm. Now, I could hook up a drum machine or something for you guys right now. You guys can go to YouTube and literally type in drum beats, and somebody will give you, you can pick BPM, and you can pick a slow beat, a funky beat, a rock beat, whatever you want to practice to. I recommend doing that. It is the same thing as a metronome, but way better than click, click, click. But once you learn to love that click, 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 you're going to dig it. I've got pretty good rhythm, so I'm just going to count on my own here and stomp on the floor. The other thing is, if you notice, I'm shaking the room. The whole room is moving when I'm playing. I'm chicken necking, and I don't care. I'm not afraid to count out loud either. As 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down and up. Look, I'm even shaking my phone off the music stand. I'm going to do that again. I won't click so hard this time. Simple. Notice I can also have a conversation while I'm doing this, because once you get good at music, you can do 3 or 4 things at once. Because you're training your brain to do 3 or 4 or 5 different things at the same time and processing all of that information, staying in rhythm. Now notice, again, I am not embarrassed to move around. If you know me, I have no fear of being stupid. And you shouldn't either. Most people don't have the guts to do something like this. Now, all I do is play a scale up and down. You can do the same thing. As I progress in time, I may go up in BPM. I may add more notes. The other thing about a banjo that I really enjoy is like the speed metal acoustic instrument, because it has no sustain. Banjos and mandolins have very little sustain. So where on a cello or a bass, I can play these long notes and it has a lot of sustain even if I hold them down. On a cello or on a banjo or a mandolin, the notes go that fast. So you have to play fast. So something we want to work on this hand is the technique. So like say, you know, something like The Godfather, you know. You know, got it, okay? So what I'm going to do is do 4, I'll do 8 notes of each one. So, but slowly in this hand. And I'm going to still count. And you ain't got the skills to count yet. So you better pick a drum beat or a metronome or something and enjoy yourself. Look at my chicken neck and doing here. So you've got it. Look at the hand. All on the tip of my thumb. Same thing goes for your strumming. So if you play an instrument that's chordal, whether it be a guitar, a mandolin, violin, anything like that, you're going to want to work on simple strumming. Now everybody I show some strumming patterns to want to do all these fancy strumming patterns right away. You ain't got the skills yet. So you got to go simple. So pick something simple like, I'm going to do C and G. Oh, let's mix it up. I'm going to do 3/4 time. We're going to do a little waltz. So instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4, which everyone should know this, but you don't think about it often. In 4/4 time, the most important beat is 1. Of course, the 1. Okay? The other important beats, the second most important beat is going to be beat number 3. Okay? So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you think 1 of getting 100% of the downbeat, you can think of beat 3 maybe getting 75, 80%, and the other 2 guys maybe about 70%, okay, on your 2 and 4. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're counting jazz, the cool thing that makes jazz cool, or things that have swings, we put that offbeat as the accent. So like if you're going to play a walking bass line or something, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now 3/4 time. 3/4 time, 1 is the most important beat. The other 2 beats get dragged along with it. It's like, I always tell the kids it's either like a waltz, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or a pirate. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So if I want to play in 3/4, I'm going to use 2 stupid chords. Now if you notice, I'm enjoying myself telling you how to do this, and if I wasn't here with you, I would still be doing this. Starting simple and building up. So I'm going to do a C and a G. We got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Some of your favorite songs are this complicated. But notice how I don't really care about anything else but trying to become meditative on this. And you better understand that music is super repetitive. So you better love repeating yourself. You better let that OCD, ADD stuff come through to help you play in time. So, the things I want to reiterate today, okay, is technique, technique, technique from day one. How you hold your instrument, whether it be clarinet, saxophone, trumpet, banjo, accordion, drumsticks, whatever, is very important. If you're not holding the instrument right, it would be like learning how to fire a firearm or something and just pointing it all over the place and just picking up and doing whatever. As I always tell my students, this is not a toy. Any instrument is not a toy. It is not a video game. It's not even a bicycle. It's a samurai sword. This is your weapon. This is your lightsaber. You need to treat it with respect and give it the respect that it deserves. You don't point it in the wrong direction without thinking about it, and you don't just mess around on it. You want to think in a very concentrated, focused way every time you play. I'm really enjoying making these videos, and I hope some people are watching. Please feel free to share them with other folks. Tomorrow is Weird Fact Wednesday. So I'm going to talk about some weird facts. You know me, I'm really into dorky musical stuff. So I'll reiterate some funny stories from you know, the music tomes and talk to you about some interesting facts with that. I'm going to keep doing this. Again, Monday's going to be Motivation Monday, Tuesday's Technique Tips, Weird Fact Wednesday, and then Thursday I'm going to do recording technique tips. So thanks for watching. If you're interested in lessons or taking some of our online classes, please let us know. We're trying to do a whole new thing here over at Kurt Stein School of Music. And while we're working remotely till we jump back in over at CMAC. But I just want to thank everyone for the support they've given us and for all our awesome families and students and friends around the country who take lessons. I could talk about this all day long, and I have bills to pay and things like that, but if anyone knows me, they know I would do this job for free. I love turning other folks on to the benefits that music can bring to their lives. And it doesn't, again, it's not, I mean, we can set goals of getting you playing out, doing all that other stuff, but the goal is your personal journey using sound waves as your vehicle. And once you get on that path and you get the bug, like I tell the students, it's more of a disease than a passion. Once you get it, you don't want to stop. And I know it takes a lot to motivate folks sometimes, but you can do it. You can do it. If this idiot can do it, you can do it. So love y'all. Have a great day. I gotta go teach some lessons.